Hey all, I am working on another project here, so it's time to recover my seat. It's looking horrible. And you want to make sure that you get something that's going to be a higher quality of vinyl, because if you just get regular vinyl from, Walmart or just your Joann Fabrics, whatever, it's not going to stand up to the, excessive wear and tear that you're going to put on it by riding it. So I'm getting some marine grade vinyl. I want to stick with the KTM colors, and we are doing orange alligator print. So can't wait to get this put on here. And first thing I'm going to have to do to get this off is pull all these staples out. So to do that, you're going to want to get something flat and about as wide as that staple as possible. The issue that you're going to have with some of your flathead screwdrivers is going to be a wide one won't fit under there because it's going to be a thicker one as well. So get what you can. There's various ways you can do it. You can use a smaller screwdriver, but you just want to make sure that it's not going to just pull up the staple and screw it up by bending it right in the center. Again, it'll work, but if you have something that's going to be wide as the staple, and then you can, pull anything that's broken off with some needle nose pliers. Again, other things you can use, other pliers, a Leatherman works great, but just something with a nice sharp point that's going to be extremely tight at the end, so even if you just have a little piece of metal of that staple sticking out, that you can pull it out. So I've got various tools here that I'm going to try out. So I've got this little flathead keychain screwdriver. It's fairly thin. It's got different sizes of tips here, so compared to just getting out a whole bunch of screwdrivers, I can do that. This one's really thin as well, so I figure if I can't get under it with any of these other tools, that I can get under there first to start it, and then use either this screwdriver or my chisel here to get under. So I've got some needle nose pliers here. Yeah, you don't want that. But yeah. So it's got a very blunt tip to it. Should be able to get right up onto any staples. So the nose on this is pretty concave. So it's going to be a little harder maybe to get to some of the staples. It's just an extra one too. This one is more convex. So when it comes together, that nose sticks out. So I'm hoping that'll help be able to push right into it to pull up that staple if I need. If they get damaged, lifetime guarantee. And I've got a couple options here for staple guns. So I've got the Stanley one here. And this one, I'm not real sure, it's kind of a weird brand, TUV. And this staple seems pretty shallow, so I'm not sure if that's a 1/4 inch, maybe a little bit more shallow than that. You don't want to go too deep or you're going to feel the staple coming through the plastic. So try and stick with a similar staple. Alright, so we're just about done. I'm just on the last few. I've just been using this 1/4 inch flathead screwdriver, and it's been working great. Since these are so small, if they were to have been longer or maybe more rusted, I might have had more issues. So all I'm doing is just sticking it underneath, kind of pushing against it, trying to pry it up, and then once it's up, put my thumb on it, and then pry it up with my thumb on it so it doesn't cause more problems. It's faster when you're able to do it that way. I'm using 2 hands, but when you put it under and then you can get your thumb on it, that way it doesn't flip over, bend over one way or another. It comes out all together at one. So that is the way I recommend it. But yeah, just a few more and we'll see how it turns out. Alright, so if you're wanting to get a good look at the inside of this seat, plastic frame here, this is what it looks like. So we've got the lever here, they've got an aluminum rivet there holding that in. There's your spring, the bar, the little catch. And right here, they've got 4 more aluminum rivets holding that in. These 2 little rubber pieces, the grommets there. And then there's a couple rubber little stoppers, little cushions there. I took them out of this one because they weren't being used there. They aren't worn hardly at all. But these ones down here were just rubbed completely off. So I'm going to just move them down there because that seems more important. I'm going to see if there's some kind of pad, something I can put up here if I've got some heavy rubber pieces. I'll see what'll work there because I don't want this coming off. I'm not sure what adverse effects we'll have from that. But I would assume, since those get rubbed off, they're gone down there, we'd want to have those pieces right there. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the 2 different vinyls here. So I'd say the Polaris vinyl is less than half as thick as this marine grade. Definitely better quality, even if you don't like the pattern. But yeah, you definitely aren't going to get as much longevity out of this factory stuff versus aftermarket. Alright, so I tacked a couple staples in there just to kind of hold it, so I was sure that it was going to be fairly close. It wasn't going to move around a whole lot. And then I just kind of put glue on the center here. That's going to be the easiest to work around. That way the center is going to stay true. It's not going to move around. And then when you're trying to fold around, then it's going to be a whole lot easier to work with because that's not going to move. And once the center's lined up, that's the most important part, because if you work on one of these sides and then you pull the center off, then it's going to be crooked. So that's my suggestion, especially on one of these curved banana shaped seats. So we'll get started here. Got a little going and can't wait to see what she looks like because it's looking great just from the start here. So here's what the end result looked like. Definitely awesome in my opinion, but it did have some wrinkles. After sitting out in the sun and getting some used to it, it did start to smooth out, so there's no more wrinkles in it. I'll have to update, but it does look a lot better than this. Also, I added some pictures of a center console lid that I redid for my friend's dad. So it turned out really cool, but since this was some material that I bought from Walmart, it started to rub and fade. So if you don't want to have that happen, like I said, get some marine grade, something that's meant to be used heavily. This stuff is just purely cosmetic.